Hey everyone, welcome to the Getting Started tutorial of Divi Mega Pro. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to get started using the plugin and get your first mega menu up and running as quickly as possible. So this is not a in-depth, exhaustive tutorial on every single feature. We have individual tutorials that will go through and how to specifically use each feature. But in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to get up and running very quickly from downloading the plugin, activating your license, downloading a pre-made mega menu template, importing it, and then publishing and setting your trigger to trigger your mega menus. We're going to set up a contact demo just like this. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, the first place we want to start is downloading the plugin. Now, if you purchase just Divi Mega Pro by itself, so not in the All Access Pass membership, well, then you received a download link in your email receipt. And then you can also come over here to purchase history and click on your purchase receipt, and then you'll see the download link in there as well. However, if you purchase the All Access Pass membership, well then things work a little bit differently. And so you have two options. You can firstly just go over to, while you're logged in, go over to the front end of the site, click on plugins, click on Divi Mega Pro, and then click download. And then the second option, depending on when you're viewing this video, we're going to be adding a area of this back panel dashboard where you can, as a All Access Pass member, be able to download all the products from one place without having to navigate to the different pages of the front end of the site. So we are in the process of doing some remodeling, and so this back end of the site, as well as the site as a whole, may look a little bit different depending on when you're watching this video. However, we're going to keep these options basically the same. They just might be moved slightly. However, purchase history, subscriptions, licenses, plugin layout templates, you will be able to see these within your My Account area, regardless of when you're watching this video. So the first thing you want to do is download the plugin. And so once you do that, we're going to go over to our demo site. So this is a local website for demonstration purposes using our Divi corporate child theme. So I'm going to go to the back end here, and I'm going to go to the plugins area, and I'm going to move rather quickly since this is pretty straightforward and the same as uploading any other plugin. So go to plugins, go to add new, click upload plugin, and then choose file. Select Divi Mega Pro, install now, activate plugin. All right, so the plugin is activated. However, we need to go ahead and activate the license. So go to Divi Mega Pro and settings, and you should see the screen here. Now to get your license key, it's either in the email or it can be found here in the licenses area of your My Account dashboard. And so if you purchase the Divi Mega Pro plugin by itself, well, then you have one license key that works with Divi Mega Pro. However, if you purchase the All Access Pass, either the annual membership or the lifetime membership, then you have one license key that will work for all of our products. So go ahead and copy that, paste it in here, and then click Save. And you'll notice as soon as you click Save, it is completely hidden. And so if you are creating websites for clients, they won't have access to your license key and won't be able to use it on any other sites or anything like that. And then additionally, if you ever need to deactivate a site from using your license key, then you can come to your Divi Live My Account area, go to the licenses screen, and then click on Manage Sites, and you can remotely deactivate a site from using your license key, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to come back over here, and we're going to go and create our first mega menu. So go ahead and from the mega menu admin option, click Add New. And I'm going to just label this Test Menu. And then now click the purple Use the Divi Builder button to activate Divi. And then once that activates, it's going to load the default screen and ask you if you want to build from scratch, choose a pre-made layout. Click Build from Scratch. Now, if you do in fact want to continue building from scratch, then you would add your columns here, and then start adding content and start designing. However, to make it easy, we're going to go ahead and import a pre-made template. And so you can do that Well, first, I'll show you where the templates are. So again, we are in the process of doing some remodeling, so it's probably going to look differently depending on when you're watching this video. However, you should see somewhere within the My Account area something that says Plugin Layout Templates. And so if you have just Divi Mega Pro, then you'll see just the Mega Pro templates. Or if you have the All Access Pass, then you'll see the templates for our other products as well. So you can go ahead and download any of them. For this demo, I'm going to go ahead and import the Contact Mega Menu because it's kind of the most diverse, most versatile template that we have. And so what's really important is you want to make sure that you import directly to this screen here. So after you download, don't go to the Divi library because they can't be imported in this context. You'll get the error that says you can't import this layout in this context. It needs to be imported directly here to the screen via Divi's portability feature. And so it's this up and down arrow here. So click the up and down arrow, and then you'll see the export import options. Click import, click choose file. We're going to import the Contact Mega Menu. We're going to keep this checked to replace existing content. However, if you ever wanted to add a template to something you already created, well, then you would just simply uncheck that. We're going to click the blue import button, let it do its thing. And then now it's done importing. Now, because we are using Divi, which has the visual builder, we can go ahead and just click on the desktop view and see what it looks like here without having to go to the front end. So it looks pretty good. So I'm going to go back to the wireframe view just to make it easier so I can see these settings. So I'm going to go ahead and click publish now. And then after that, I'm going to show you what we do next. So we're going to go ahead and copy this class here. So under Mega Pro Triggers, go ahead and copy this. Right click, copy. And after we set this up, I'm going to go through and briefly explain what each of these options are. And then we have individual tutorials on each of the features as well. But I'm going to keep things moving and show you how to trigger the Mega Menu on the front end. So go ahead and copy this to your clipboard again. And then now we're going to navigate to Appearance Menus. I already have a menu built for this site. If you don't, go ahead and create a menu, add some pages. And then once you have the menu here, we're going to put it under Contact Us because it's a Contact Mega Menu. However, you'll notice there's nowhere to put any classes or anything like that. And that's because by default, WordPress hides those from us because a lot of beginners don't need those options. However, for this, we do need those options. And so to get those options, click on Screen Options in the top right-hand corner of the screen. And then we're going to check the boxes for two things, CSS classes and link relationship. We can go ahead and close that. So now it enables and shows us these two options here. And so you can paste the CSS class here. However, if you plan on using an arrow, so see here on the demo, we have these arrows. If you plan on using the arrow, then we typically recommend adding it to the link relationship XFN. I'm not going to go into the details of what that is. However, the arrows position a little bit better, more centered when you paste the class here opposed to in the CSS class option. And so if you don't care, then it doesn't really matter. But if you are using the arrow and you want it to center properly, then go ahead and add it to the link relationship and then click Save Menu. So don't forget to hit Save Menu, otherwise it won't save. So once you do that, you can go ahead and view the front end of the website. And then hover over Contact Us, and you can see it activates the Mega Menu. So that is all it takes to trigger or to set up a Mega Menu and trigger it on the front end of your site. You simply create a Mega Menu, import a template or create from scratch, publish it, and then take that CSS class, pop it into your WordPress menu, and you're good to go. So that's all it takes. So as I mentioned, I'm going to go back here and kind of give you a brief overview of all the different options here. And so kind of explain what each thing does so you have an idea. And then for more in-depth tutorials, go to our tutorial center or the documentation center of the Divi Life website for more in-depth tutorials on each feature. But I'm going to give you a brief overview of what everything does so you understand. So display locations, in most cases, if you are creating a mega menu, well, most of the time you have one menu that's pretty much the same on all pages. If that's the case, then you want to leave this selected on all pages. That way, Divi Mega Pro will automatically add that content to the back end or to the behind the scenes so that it triggers right away. But if for whatever reason you have a menu that's just on one page or a couple pages, well, then you can go ahead and select only specific pages and then go ahead and you add those pages there. But in most cases, you want to just keep all pages selected. So this is the animation, pretty straightforward, but we have 5 different options: shift away, shift towards, perspective, fade, and scale. And so the one that you just saw is shift away. You can play around and choose which ones you like. They're all pretty simple. They're not overly dramatic. We find those annoying, and so we tried to keep them kind of simple and nothing too crazy, but you can play around and decide which ones you like. So the Mega Pro triggers, this is what we copied to add to the menus under Appearance. And then CSS Selector Trigger, this is a advanced feature, and in most cases you won't need this. But basically what this is say there is something that you want to trigger your mega menu from. Maybe you have a plugin that is adding some fancy menu to the page or adding some other element, or something where there's no option to add a class, right? So we add this class here to trigger the mega menu or the mega tooltip. But if there's nowhere to add that, there's no CSS class field, well, then what you can do is you can add the CSS string of that option into here in order to trigger it. So for example, say you had a pricing table, and then on the pricing table, there wasn't individual options to add a class for each part of the table. Well, then you can go ahead and add the class or the ID of those options on the table into here as a string. So if you need to do this, definitely watch the individual tutorial as we go through and actually give you the use cases for that and kind of show you in depth how to use that feature. Okay, so the Mega Pro display settings. Now, in most cases, you want to keep this default to down so that it displays down. But however, if you have something on the middle of the page and you want it to display up, well, then you can change that to up. Or if you have a menu that's at the bottom of the page for whatever reason. Divi Mega Pro does have some logic built in, so if there's not enough space for it to display up, then it'll automatically display down. And so there is that kind of built-in intelligence into the plugin. However, if there's room to display up or down, then it's going to go off of whatever you have set here. Now, margin top or bottom, this is for if you need to add some space. Say you wanted to add some space so it's not flush up against here. Well, then you can do that here by adding, you would add like 10 pixels, for example, and then hit save, and then it'll add some space in between the drop down and the bottom of the menu. So Mega Pro width, as we saw in this demo, it was 100% of the width. However, we have some preset widths, 100%, 75, 50, 25, or you can do custom. So for example, I'm going to do 1080 pixels. Make sure you type in pixels as well. And then you can click update here. Wait for the page to update. And then now on the front end of the site, you can see instead of it displaying full screen, 100% width, it's just doing 1080 pixels. And so that's probably a little bit too small for this 3 column. So I'd probably make it a little bit bigger because you can see it's a little bit crammed and things are breaking off, but wanted to show you how to do that here. Okay, and so Mega Pro fixed height, that is if for whatever reason you wanted to restrict the height of the mega menu and then have a scroll bar within, that would do that. So say, for example, you wanted to do 250 pixels and hit update. It's going to look really stupid, but wanted to show you that that option is available. So now you can see it's really small, but we have a scroll where we can scroll inside of the mega menu. So probably won't want to use that too often, but it's there. Okay, enable arrow. Now this is a really cool feature. This is how you have those drop-down arrows right here. Just adds a little bit of extra flair to, and it's a visual cue that shows the user what menu option they have selected. And so to enable it, you just hit enable, and then you could do triangle or you can do round. And then we have a little preview here that's going to show you what it looks like. And so you can select the color, and then you can change the width, you can change the height, and you can watch it. It kind of gives you a overall preview. So it's only going to give you this triangle. This bottom portion is just to give it context, but it's not going to actually change anything below. It's just this triangle here. So when I hit update, and you can see it added the red mega menu triangle underneath Contact Us. So pretty simple. You can customize that to be any color and size that you want. Now, the next setting here is the close button customizations. Now, by default, there is no close button here, right? You just hover. However, in certain cases, it might be a good idea if you have a lot going on to add a close button in the top right corner so that a user knows that they can close the mega menu. And so to do that, you can click enable. You can customize it if you want, and you can see the preview here. So you can enable it just on desktop or just on mobile. On mobile, when the mega menu takes up more space, you might want a close button so it's easier for the user to navigate away from the drop-down mega menu. And so if you want some further clarification on that, we'll have a video just on using these close buttons. The next setting I want to show you is the additional settings here. Now, by default, the mega menu is on for all devices. However, if you wanted to have mega menus just on desktop, well, then you would disable on tablet and mobile. However, if you wanted a special mega menu for just mobile, and then have another one for just tablet, and then another one for just desktop, well, then you would create 3 separate mega menus and then display on the corresponding devices. And so you have that option too. So mega menus can be a little bit complicated on mobile in general. And so some people like to completely disable them on mobile and just use basic options for mobile since you have very limited screen real estate. Now we have another tutorial that shows you how to customize your mega menu specifically for mobile. So say, for example, you wanted one mega menu, but you wanted to kind of change the options and simplify it for the smaller devices. Well, we do that using Divi's built-in options. And so using Divi's built-in options, if you wanted to, for example, get rid of the map, well, you would just go into Map Settings, Advanced, Visibility, and say Disable on Phone, Disable on Tablet. And then this module won't display at all. However, the overall mega menu would, but you can kind of create a simplified version for the smaller screen that doesn't have all the bells and whistles that the desktop version mega menu does. So that's those settings here, the disable settings. Now, these last settings here are actually really important. So by default, when you hover over the mega menu, it triggers it. And then when you hover out of it, it goes away. That's pretty standard functionality for mega menus. However, sometimes you might want to change that, and you might want to trigger it on click so that it won't trigger the mega menu unless you click. So then you would change the trigger type to click. Or you might want to make it so the exit type is click. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what that looks like here. So it's still going to trigger on hover, but it's not going to go away unless I click outside of the Mega Menu area. So you can see here, I'm hovering. Now the mouse is completely out of the container of the Mega Pro area, and it's still visible. But if I click, then it goes away. And so this is also an option that you can use combined with the close button. So say you have a Mega Menu that you don't want to close unless they click the close button or click outside the area, well, then you can do that. Also, if you have multiple Mega Menus, if you hover, say we had a Mega Menu over get a quote, well, that's going to automatically close this one here. And so you want it to do that. So that's the exception. So it's not going to close unless you click out of it, or if you hover over another Mega Menu, then it's going to shift over to that other Mega Menu. And then the last setting here, so change it back to the default settings, which is hover for both trigger type and exit type, and then exit delay. So I'm going to change it to 0.5 seconds, which is rather long, but just to give you an example here and see what that looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh. So with this setting, when you add a exit delay, it changes how long until it fades away when you hover out of the area. So the triggers still hover, and then you can see if my mouse goes out like quickly, it's not going to go away. But if I leave it out, then it goes away. So if I leave it out for half a second, then it goes away. And so this can be useful if you have a lot of Mega Menus and your user is, when they're moving the mouse, they're accidentally hovering outside and it keeps closing it. And so say, for example, they're hovering over here and there's a setting way here on the left of the screen. Well, their mouse might start here and then kind of go over here, and then it closes it, and it can be a frustrating user experience. And so using the exit delay, you can kind of fine tune that. And so I think depending on what settings you have going on in the Mega Menu, how big your menu is, that sort of thing will kind of define whether or not you need to use that exit delay. And so you can kind of just play that by ear depending on what you have going on. So that is all of the current settings within Divi Mega Pro. So hopefully you found this tutorial useful. Definitely check out the additional tutorials that we have for Divi Mega Pro, so you can get to know all the different features and see the different use cases of different things. You can see how to create a mega tooltip, for example. If you want to create a mega menu that's not a menu, that's basically a hover pop-up on the page, well then check out the tutorial for creating a mega tooltip. All right, thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.